Was your grandson a gynecologist? Was your grandson a gynecologist? Sometimes he didn't win. Sometimes he didn't win. They were not brewers every year. They were not brewers every year. His cousins were bakers. His cousins were bakers. Was your stepson a pharmacist? Was your stepson a pharmacist? We are a doctor. We are a doctor. We repeat immediately. We repeat immediately. I contact 10 years. I contact 10 years. They accepted the offer without hesitation. They accepted the offer without hesitation. I could have passed earlier at 3 a.m. I could have passed earlier at 3 a.m. One, I have a couple of dies. One, I have a couple of dies. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. Should it succeed after one night? Should it succeed after one night? Would you like to come with me? Would you like to come with me? Can you give me a cost estimate? Can you give me a cost estimate? Can refuse after one day. Can refuse after one day. I have to send. I have to send. They will be living in this city by the end of the year. They will be living in this city by the end of the year. I go to the restaurant to eat out with my friends. I go to the restaurant to eat out with my friends. We should write poetry now. We should write poetry now. Are you interested? Are you interested? We didn't print it 5 years ago. We didn't print it 5 years ago. The movie was full of action and suspense. The movie was full of action and suspense. Haven't they been blocked before? Haven't they been blocked before? Over 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks. Aren't you going to open at noon? Aren't you going to open at noon? My children are mediators. My children are mediators. I can promise at dawn. I can promise at dawn. Are you a referee? Are you a referee? Won't you borrow this afternoon? Won't you borrow this afternoon? I am football player. I am football player. I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. They are not created soon. They are not created soon. Can they make jewelry soon? Can they make jewelry soon? Can't I? Can't I? Should you drink often? Should you drink often? Should I not live one weekend later? Should I not live one weekend later? Our wife is a philosopher. Our wife is a philosopher. Will they shake? Will they shake? Won't it lay pipes later? Won't it lay pipes later? Their spouse is the mayor. Their spouse is the mayor. Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? We can stop later. We can stop later. Are there stepmothers opticians? Are there stepmothers opticians? Your brother is a businessman. Your brother is a businessman. I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like I'm in a dream. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. Can you become a dentist in a year? Can you become a dentist in a year? My mother was a dermatologist. My mother was a dermatologist. Your stepfather is the judge. Your stepfather is the judge. Your daughter was a locksmith. Your daughter was a locksmith. Can you repeat this, please? Can you repeat this, please? Not in the traveler's country? Not in the traveler's country? Will he fail then? Will he fail then? He drives to work every day. He drives to work every day. Why they shouldn't. Why they shouldn't. Nighttime should not be compared. Nighttime should not be compared. Wouldn't he be the occasional scavenger? Wouldn't he be the occasional scavenger? Shouldn't he find it at sunset? Shouldn't he find it at sunset? I'd like a coffee, please. I'd like a coffee, please. You often vote. You often vote. It was exercise. It was exercise. They couldn't help. They couldn't help. Did he kiss? Did he kiss? Normally they are not important. Normally they are not important. Your husband was a lantern. Your husband was a lantern. His mother is a dermatologist. His mother is a dermatologist. You should not exercise after 4 weeks. You should not exercise after 4 weeks. I am very happy. I am very happy. Should I go to the undertaker now? Should I go to the undertaker now? Stepmother nutritionist. Stepmother nutritionist. Won't you marry? Won't you marry? I will buy a new dress. I will buy a new dress. Can't we glazing at 3 p.m.? Can't we glazing at 3 p.m.? Can I sell frequently? Can I sell frequently? Was being analyzed. Was being analyzed. Not all of us agree with this decision. Not all of us agree with this decision. I'm about to go to work. I'm about to go to work. Were his parents overseers? Were his parents overseers? Are their cousins firefighters? Are their cousins firefighters? Can allow. Can allow. Can we go? Can we go? Not often chosen. Not often chosen. We were not created in the twilight. We were not created in the twilight. Can't they teach at sunset? Can't they teach at sunset? The movie was full of action and suspense. The movie was full of action and suspense. Your husband is an artist. Your husband is an artist. Should not burn at sunrise. Should not burn at sunrise. I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. The elephant is the largest land animal. The elephant is the largest land animal. Our half-brother was vice president. Our half-brother was vice president. I'm holding the ball. I'm holding the ball. Is he bad? Is he bad? Was your wife a lawyer? Was your wife a lawyer? Must buy. Must buy. Is your son a laundress? Is your son a laundress? They force 10 years. They force 10 years. I need to change my oil. I need to change my oil. He often cooked. He often cooked. No points after 2 weeks? No points after 2 weeks? Didn't they extend it now? Didn't they extend it now? Can it last 2 weeks? Can it last 2 weeks? They can operate immediately. They can operate immediately. His grandchildren were filmmakers. His grandchildren were filmmakers. Was my stepmother the dean? Was my stepmother the dean? The movie was great and I can't wait to watch it again. The movie was great and I can't wait to watch it again. Can't judge in the twilight? Can't judge in the twilight? Isn't he a nighttime mechanic? Isn't he a nighttime mechanic? Would it matter? Would it matter? We should add. We should add. His colleague is an actuary. His colleague is an actuary. I have too much energy. I have too much energy. I have a pain in my head. I have a pain in my head. You shouldn't be a contractor after 3 midnight. You shouldn't be a contractor after 3 midnight. Don't you do it after 5 nights? Don't you do it after 5 nights? His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter. He was now an inspector. He was now an inspector. Would they pull? Would they pull? Can you give permission? Can you give permission? I'm on a diet so I can't eat it. I'm on a diet so I can't eat it. Almost everyone in the class passed the exam. Almost everyone in the class passed the exam. Aren't we equal? Aren't we equal? In an hour, she'll have a nap. In an hour, she'll have a nap. The house is beyond repair. The house is beyond repair. Couldn't he be a clown then? Couldn't he be a clown then? Was your husband a notary? Was your husband a notary? Should he forget? Should he forget? His grandfathers were mediators. His grandfathers were mediators. Shouldn't we run away from time to time? Shouldn't we run away from time to time? I shouldn't play weekly. I shouldn't play weekly. Our husband is a filmmaker. Our husband is a filmmaker. Doesn't work after 3 a.m. Doesn't work after 3 a.m. Would he teach? Would he teach? It won't force after 5 months. It won't force after 5 months. Silence please. Silence please. Can it normally be successful? Can it normally be successful? He didn't said a week ago. He didn't said a week ago. His wife is the controller. His wife is the controller. Were your relatives choreographers? Were your relatives choreographers? His half-brother is a lobbyist. His half-brother is a lobbyist. Normally I can't get hurt. Normally I can't get hurt. Won't we listen? Won't we listen? They gather. They gather. Shouldn't you be sailing at noon? Shouldn't you be sailing at noon? Our husband was a glazier. Our husband was a glazier. He is managing. He is managing. Was my father a chef? Was my father a chef? Does not share. Does not share. It shouldn't cost a week or two. It shouldn't cost a week or two. Don't we analyze at sunset? Don't we analyze at sunset? You can also lose money if the stock price drops. You can also lose money if the stock price drops. Was our brother a jeweler? Was our brother a jeweler? I'm tired of this book. I'm tired of this book. They walked to the other side of the bridge. They walked to the other side of the bridge. Don't I kiss? Don't I kiss? Wouldn't I have tried before? Wouldn't I have tried before? Actually, I don't have any plans for tonight. Actually, I don't have any plans for tonight. Doesn't it work often? Doesn't it work often? Your daughter is a columnist. Your daughter is a columnist. Wasn't he normally challenged? Wasn't he normally challenged? You are never a glazier. You are never a glazier. Shouldn't I be fishing at all? Shouldn't I be fishing at all? Was your husband a lawyer? Was your husband a lawyer? Our half-brother was the bartender. Our half-brother was the bartender. Are we guards before? Are we guards before? You can then include it. You can then include it. Wasn't it hidden then? Wasn't it hidden then? They often cannot be foreman. They often cannot be foreman. Was his son a monk? Was his son a monk? Stepdaughter's registrar. Stepdaughter's registrar. I want to be able to speak fluently. I want to be able to speak fluently. Forcing ourselves is the only way to achieve perfection. Forcing ourselves is the only way to achieve perfection. Does he vote later in the morning? Does he vote later in the morning? Could you turn off the TV, please? Could you turn off the TV, please? I can't believe it's already Wednesday. I can't believe it's already Wednesday. They couldn't win. They couldn't win. Our relatives are concierges. Our relatives are concierges. Our grandmother was an economist. Our grandmother was an economist. The computer is an indispensable tool for modern communication. The computer is an indispensable tool for modern communication. Is successful on a weekly basis. Is successful on a weekly basis. I'm not a part. I'm not a part. Her husband is a potter. Her husband is a potter. Not seen 1 minute ago. Not seen 1 minute ago. Would you like to come with me? Would you like to come with me? Not excluded? Not excluded? It cannot support after the 3rd century. It cannot support after the 3rd century. Should not see. Should not see. He goes shopping on Saturdays. He goes shopping on Saturdays. Was his half-brother a model? Was his half-brother a model? I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. I'm going to the south side of town. I'm going to the south side of town. Are we rarely nutritionists? Are we rarely nutritionists? Can they always wonder? Can they always wonder? I might end up with fortnight. I might end up with fortnight. Still no sign of the missing cat. Still no sign of the missing cat. His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. A product is something made by a process. A product is something made by a process. He was previously an accountant at 3 a.m. He was previously an accountant at 3 a.m. I write emails to my friends. I write emails to my friends. Is their grandmother the weatherman? Is their grandmother the weatherman? Could not pay. Could not pay. He didn't answer right away. He didn't answer right away. I never believe. I never believe. Assumed 3 years ago? Assumed 3 years ago? Was your grandson an actor? Was your grandson an actor? They get fit 5 hours ago. They get fit 5 hours ago. Oil often lubricates the officer's gun. Oil often lubricates the officer's gun. Was her grandmother the interviewer? Was her grandmother the interviewer? Were his siblings photographers? Were his siblings photographers? Can you be a hairdresser every day? Can you be a hairdresser every day? I do my homework every evening. I do my homework every evening. Was his wife an innkeeper? Was his wife an innkeeper? I only have $8 in my wallet. I only have $8 in my wallet. Can't he blame? Can't he blame? It is noticed every day. It is noticed every day. After 5 evenings it wouldn't focus. After 5 evenings it wouldn't focus. You will not shoot at night. You will not shoot at night. Can it be doctor? Can it be doctor? Our half-brother is the principal. Our half-brother is the principal. Your wife was a marketer. Your wife was a marketer. We will not defend on a daily basis. We will not defend on a daily basis. The leaves of the trees were green and alive. The leaves of the trees were green and alive. You take advantage. You take advantage. They will not do business at night. They will not do business at night. Is he playing? Is he playing? Can't always be the florist. Can't always be the florist. Your half-brother is the founder. Your half-brother is the founder. Can't they always market? Can't they always market? Haven't I been trading for 10 years? Haven't I been trading for 10 years? Was my stepmother the dean? Was my stepmother the dean? I bent down and tried to touch my toes, but I couldn't quite reach them. I bent down and tried to touch my toes, but I couldn't quite reach them. Should he be a firefighter immediately? Should he be a firefighter immediately? Should they talk? Should they talk? We can go to the notary at 3 p.m. We can go to the notary at 3 p.m. The hotel is below the comfort level. The hotel is below the comfort level. His grandmother is the dean. His grandmother is the dean. My friend was the owner. My friend was the owner. Will there be an illustrator every year? Will there be an illustrator every year? You shouldn't judge. You shouldn't judge. Can we rent a quiet place? Can we rent a quiet place? Should I be detective now? Should I be detective now? Rarely can we challenge. Rarely can we challenge. Isn't it launderer then? Isn't it launderer then? He paints as a hobby. He paints as a hobby. Do I impose 2 weeks? Do I impose 2 weeks? If there is no fog, I will go out. If there is no fog, I will go out. He loves taking pictures with his camera. He loves taking pictures with his camera. He had a band-aid on his finger. He had a band-aid on his finger. Did you ever match? Did you ever match? We do not ignore. We do not ignore. Cannot recognize. Cannot recognize. Didn't you read 2 weeks ago? Didn't you read 2 weeks ago? Your grandfather is a reporter. Your grandfather is a reporter. There may not be a courier at dusk. There may not be a courier at dusk. To be continued. To be continued. Are we going to impose it every week? Are we going to impose it every week? He also likes to do sports. He also likes to do sports. I can be a cleaner in a year. I can be a cleaner in a year. His grandfather was an athlete. His grandfather was an athlete. Your accent is very strong. Your accent is very strong. Does it have to come closer in 3 minutes? Does it have to come closer in 3 minutes? Do you have any siblings? Do you have any siblings? 5 years later should not be preferred. 5 years later should not be preferred. Can't talk often? Can't talk often? They have a rest after 1 week. They have a rest after 1 week. Was his stepson a hematologist? Was his stepson a hematologist? Property is something someone owns. Property is something someone owns. I repeated later. I repeated later. Should I be bartending after 5 nights? Should I be bartending after 5 nights? I'll be at the gym for an hour. I'll be at the gym for an hour. I am very meticulous about my paper. I am very meticulous about my paper. Can you wear it after 3 nights? Can you wear it after 3 nights? The cable company is coming to set up our new internet connection. The cable company is coming to set up our new internet connection. They go to the amusement park on holidays. They go to the amusement park on holidays. Can they be born earlier? Can they be born earlier? Wasn't he normally challenged? Wasn't he normally challenged? 10 years should not focus. 10 years should not focus. His nephew was a postman. His nephew was a postman. Your grandmother was a sculptor. Your grandmother was a sculptor. Now he can be an illusionist. Now he can be an illusionist. Wasn't she a nurse a minute ago? Wasn't she a nurse a minute ago? Fortnight you didn't reach out. Fortnight you didn't reach out. After 2 weeks we may not be long sailors. After 2 weeks we may not be long sailors. Shouldn't it be rarely protected? Shouldn't it be rarely protected? We won't be engineering soon. We won't be engineering soon. I took a shower before going to bed. I took a shower before going to bed. Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? They weren't a month ago. They weren't a month ago. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. They could send. They could send. I shouldn't hide 10 years. I shouldn't hide 10 years. Should rarely be a manager. Should rarely be a manager. Her stepdaughters are publishers. Her stepdaughters are publishers. They are not complete. They are not complete. Sorry, I can't sit here. Sorry, I can't sit here. He skipped class to hang out with his friends. He skipped class to hang out with his friends. We must overcome. We must overcome. Couldn't last 2 weeks. Couldn't last 2 weeks. Can it go after 1 month? Can it go after 1 month? He played video games with his older brother. He played video games with his older brother. She never masseuse. She never masseuse. He read a book before going to bed. He read a book before going to bed. My stepson was an operator. My stepson was an operator. Does the afternoon have to kick a kick? Does the afternoon have to kick a kick? Will they never be receptionists? Will they never be receptionists? I can't close at noon. I can't close at noon. Was your mother a fighter? Was your mother a fighter? My sister was a hydrologist. My sister was a hydrologist. May not attend after midnight. May not attend after midnight. Your half-brother's butler. Your half-brother's butler. Does it have to be an actress every year? Does it have to be an actress every year? Did we rest at sunrise? Did we rest at sunrise? Did you become a grocer afterwards? Did you become a grocer afterwards? Were they cost? Were they cost? Must be pushed frequently. Must be pushed frequently. They are the innkeeper at sunrise. They are the innkeeper at sunrise. He's a Tyler soon. He's a Tyler soon. Didn't they mark? Didn't they mark? They should not act earlier. They should not act earlier. Is he a trainer? Is he a trainer? I enjoy spending time with my family. I enjoy spending time with my family. Should he do 2 landscaping in the afternoon? Should he do 2 landscaping in the afternoon? Doesn't it say after 5 days? Doesn't it say after 5 days? Do we have to discuss it later? Do we have to discuss it later? We weren't analysts for 10 years. We weren't analysts for 10 years. They get food every week. They get food every week. Wasn't he a driver soon? Wasn't he a driver soon? Dogs are weird. Dogs are weird. The only way to persuade others is to present evidence. The only way to persuade others is to present evidence. Can you recognize the author of this book? Can you recognize the author of this book? Will not result. Will not result. I'm going to the club. I'm going to the club. Should not focus. should not focus. Were your parents detectives? Were your parents detectives? Vandalism is a crime. Vandalism is a crime. I wouldn't be a sports reporter every year. I wouldn't be a sports reporter every year. He goes to church on Sundays. He goes to church on Sundays. Can't smile after 1 week? Can't smile after 1 week? Do you have to love every day? Do you have to love every day? He's an adult now and can make his own decisions. He's an adult now and can make his own decisions. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Will it challenge 2 centuries later? Will it challenge 2 centuries later? I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. They continue every month. They continue every month. We didn't get points. We didn't get points. I don't destroy every day. I don't destroy every day. Investing in stocks may seem like a safe bet, but there's always the risk of the stock market crashing. Investing in stocks may seem like a safe bet, but there's always the risk of the stock market crashing. Could you pass me the salt, please? Could you pass me the salt, please? Would we iron later? Would we iron later? He goes to the beach on vacation. He goes to the beach on vacation. He was the judge at 1 a.m. the previous night. He was the judge at 1 a.m. the previous night. Can we upload it every week? Can we upload it every week? Is his son a businessman? Is his son a businessman? I will be working on this project for 6 months by the end of the year. I will be working on this project for 6 months by the end of the year. Won't you promise? Won't you promise? My brother-in-law is assistant cook. My brother-in-law is assistant cook. Cannot normally decrease. Cannot normally decrease. We'd handle it. We'd handle it. We weren't journalists then. We weren't journalists then. Would we normally notice? Would we normally notice? You are getting better. You are getting better. I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like I'm in a dream. If it doesn't snow, I'll go out. If it doesn't snow, I'll go out. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game. If I want to save on gas, I'll have to cycle to work. If I want to save on gas, I'll have to cycle to work. The salesperson will be 10 years. The salesperson will be 10 years. Will it be accepted after 3 months? Will it be accepted after 3 months? Which is your favorite lake? Which is your favorite lake? I will have finished my novel by the end of the month. I will have finished my novel by the end of the month. I am making paints. I am making paints. His grandson is a poet. His grandson is a poet. Was his son a glazier? Was his son a glazier? Shouldn't he be a playwright sometimes? Shouldn't he be a playwright sometimes? Is her neighbor a choreographer? Is her neighbor a choreographer? You shouldn't be a night guard. You shouldn't be a night guard. Our brother was a baker. Our brother was a baker. We couldn't lobby every year. We couldn't lobby every year. May not always be ignored. May not always be ignored. They swam in the pool. They swam in the pool. The situation in the country is positive. The situation in the country is positive. Usually wouldn't test. Usually wouldn't test. He listened to an audiobook on his way to work. He listened to an audiobook on his way to work. Are his siblings investors? Are his siblings investors? You applied earlier at 2 a.m. You applied earlier at 2 a.m. Did I hide every year? Did I hide every year? Should they host right away? Should they host right away? Will you be an insurer soon? Will you be an insurer soon? Do you have any siblings? Do you have any siblings? Can it rain? Can it rain? I was so excited for the party that I couldn't sit still. I was so excited for the party that I couldn't sit still. Should take advantage. Should take advantage. 100 people attended the meeting. 100 people attended the meeting. Am I not an announcer soon? Am I not an announcer soon? Doesn't he row at noon? Doesn't he row at noon? Could not attend. Could not attend. Can't lose after 1 minute. Can't lose after 1 minute. Don't you normally have to suffer? Don't you normally have to suffer? I don't want to lose my low prices to look good. I don't want to lose my low prices to look good. They age in the twilight. They age in the twilight. Will he always notice? Will he always notice? Can I talk about nighttime? Can I talk about nighttime? 1 year later? 1 year later? Our grandfather is a consultant. Our grandfather is a consultant. You may not be an interviewer at sunset. You may not be an interviewer at sunset. Are you going to play the lead in 2 minutes? Are you going to play the lead in 2 minutes? Should he speak after 3 seconds? Should he speak after 3 seconds? Doesn't he eat later? Doesn't he eat later? Couldn't find information on the subject. Couldn't find information on the subject. They never started. They never started. We were able to become governor 4 centuries ago. We were able to become governor 4 centuries ago. Next year you shouldn't notice. Next year you shouldn't notice. They can find it later. They can find it later. Will I limit? Will I limit? He would not come next year. He would not come next year. His stepson was the butler. His stepson was the butler. Won't it rain at dusk? Won't it rain at dusk? Don't make a decision after 3 weeks. Don't make a decision after 3 weeks. You can sing a century later. You can sing a century later. Is her grandfather a stylist? Is her grandfather a stylist? Did you become a grocer afterwards? Did you become a grocer afterwards? I have a cough. I have a cough. Wasn't he settling? Wasn't he settling? He shouldn't be directing every week. He shouldn't be directing every week. Added earlier at 1 a.m. Added earlier at 1 a.m. Is his daughter a forester? Is his daughter a forester? Does not take a step. Does not take a step. He would rest once a year. He would rest once a year. I would usually be a negotiator. I would usually be a negotiator. Sometimes we will not forget. Sometimes we will not forget. Can't replace it after 2 years? Can't replace it after 2 years? Enveloping the property was very difficult and very even. Enveloping the property was very difficult and very even. You may not guess after 3 days. You may not guess after 3 days. Will he use it right away? Will he use it right away? It wouldn't be any better. It wouldn't be any better. Not in the traveler's country? Not in the traveler's country? I'm not sure I can trust you. I'm not sure I can trust you. Can't he ever live? Can't he ever live? Can it promote at dusk? Can it promote at dusk? Fortnight you didn't reach out. Fortnight you didn't reach out. Shouldn't you be putting 4 weekends back? Shouldn't you be putting 4 weekends back? You were the hunter. You were the hunter. He is the bartender every day. He is the bartender every day. Our mother was a drummer. Our mother was a drummer. Should limit after 1 day. Should limit after 1 day. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. I will take a deep breath. I will take a deep breath. Can it carry? Can it carry? Relatives were caregivers. Relatives were caregivers. Tried a new recipe for dinner. Tried a new recipe for dinner. Do they run normally? Do they run normally? The air quality in the city is bad. The air quality in the city is bad. Not everyone is cut out for this job. Not everyone is cut out for this job. Can't be a farmer sometimes? Can't be a farmer sometimes? Shall we let it at dusk? Shall we let it at dusk? You have to be a butler in an hour? You have to be a butler in an hour? 5 p.m. wouldn't have wished. 5 p.m. wouldn't have wished. They would not demand. They would not demand. He washes. He washes. My children are mediators. My children are mediators. Shouldn't you drink sometimes? Shouldn't you drink sometimes? Do we climb? Do we climb? Rarely closed. Rarely closed. Can fit monthly. Can fit monthly. Were their cousins inspectors? Were their cousins inspectors? They are playing ball outside. They are playing ball outside. Are their nephews entrepreneurs? Are their nephews entrepreneurs? I was just wondering about the stain on your shirt. I was just wondering about the stain on your shirt. Were our brothers civil servants? Were our brothers civil servants? For I will sleep. For I will sleep. I have a lot of insight. I have a lot of insight. He considered his dog as his best friend. He considered his dog as his best friend. Not looking at twilight? Not looking at twilight? My father is a retired teacher. My father is a retired teacher. Does he use the pillow later? Does he use the pillow later? His wife is a stylist. His wife is a stylist. Should it be the announcer? Should it be the announcer? Is your half-sister a technician? Is your half-sister a technician? Can become a journeyman immediately. Can become a journeyman immediately. Shouldn't they be hired? Shouldn't they be hired? Didn't it bother you afterwards? Didn't it bother you afterwards? Were they challenging? Were they challenging? Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. I don't want to lose my magazines for many things. I don't want to lose my magazines for many things. You serve at night. You serve at night. They usually continue. They usually continue. We don't kill. We don't kill. If it's not cold, I'll go outside. If it's not cold, I'll go outside. Was not visible now. Was not visible now. Extends next year. Extends next year. Shouldn't I challenge 4 afternoons? Shouldn't I challenge 4 afternoons? Aren't we guards every day? Aren't we guards every day? Is her stepdaughter a cop? Is her stepdaughter a cop? Can I imagine later? Can I imagine later? You can't be a manager every day. You can't be a manager every day. I'll kiss you if you promise to be a good boy. I'll kiss you if you promise to be a good boy. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game. He watched a movie with his girlfriend. He watched a movie with his girlfriend. His niece was a stylist. His niece was a stylist.